Okay, first of all, I want to know how would you describe the second movie?
I would say it
Different.
is hopefully a movie just as great, if not better, than the first one, where we take the story further forward, where everyone kind of wanted it to go, and I guess like further back because we learn more about the characters' past, and I think just learn more generally on a whole about all of the characters. We get a new character as well, and yeah, it's just the same story but bigger and better with more to it.
And thinking about it from a distance and knowing this is such an emotional story, an emotional film, what feelings does it provoke on you?
What feelings does it provoke? Like watching the film or just the story?
Just the story and
Uh,
watching the film and doing it.
I think that there's a lot in the film that people can relate to, even having never been in a relationship, or if you've never experienced this exactly. And I think the frustration in at some parts of the story, and the passion and the love and the humor. I think there's a lot of different emotions that people can sort of connect to, or that would be evoked with this film and watching it.
This question is just for Josephine and Hero. How have your characters evolved in the second movie, and how have you worked on this evolution?
In terms of their relationship, they both fully understand their emotions for each other, and now it's a question of making them work, and that's definitely easier said than done, especially with these two characters. So yeah, I think it's as I said, taking it forward in time and learning more in a whole. It's hard to say without ruining too much, but yeah, I think they learn more about themselves in a way that they can only learn after feeling and experiencing what they did in the first movie.
For me, it would be about well, it's not just physically how she's changed, and her wardrobe and her makeup and her hair and and just little things, and it's also about uh, how she comes across, and I feel like she's really sticking up for herself more, and she's gained this sort of sense of confidence and this sense of wanting to explore and wanting to try new things and being more assertive about her curiosity. Whereas in the first film, I think she was curious but not necessarily an initiator. And yeah, that's what's changed for me.
Now, this question is for Dylan. Sorry for letting you in standby. Trevor arrives and he's gonna act like the third wheel. So I want to know who is Trevor to you? How would you describe him? And also, how have you approached the character?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I connected to the fact that he was a third wheel. I mean, I've been that most of my life, so it's really easy for me to tell. And regarding coming into Trevor, it wasn't too bad. I mean, in general, I connected with the character through the script, which I felt like was well written, and I really wanted to work with everybody here present and the cast and crew as well outside of this. So I kind of just jumped right into it. It was a new character for me that I hadn't really played before. And I really admire some of Trevor's qualities, which reminded me a lot of kind of video game design friends that I had. So I kind of channeled them, and now we're here.
Again, for Josephine and Hero, in the second movie, it seems that we're gonna explore more of Hardin's dark side and also more of the toxicity of his relationship with Tessa. How have you worked this out without letting the intensity of the emotions take over?
Like as actors, how do
Yeah.
you do those sorts of scenes in general? Well, I think it's different for everyone. I think sometimes you commit to it, and you're in the moment, and then you become vulnerable for a minute, and then you're not. It's sort of like an on-off switch, and sometimes it can affect you. I think if it's a scene that really resonates with you in real life, it can sort of linger for a little bit. But uh, in general, that's just the job. I think acting's about empathy, curiosity, and also an ability to be vulnerable when required, sometimes in difficult circumstances.
Yeah, I'd agree completely. I think it's tough to detach sometimes, but the majority of the time, you know, you're going there to do a scene that you've analyzed and broken down, and you've been in one mood on one day, and you've looked at the scene, and then another mood and another day, and you've looked at the scene, and by the time you do the scene, you've analyzed it in so many different on so many different days in so many different moods that you feel yourself. It does become for me quite easy to detach on the day. Sometimes you get caught by surprise, especially if it's like a really emotional scene. I'm sure, you know, you're not gonna do a long emotional scene and then be super smiley and happy after. It takes a minute. Some actors can do it like that, and some take a while. For me, I guess I'm still learning, and it really does change. But luckily, I don't think I carry too much stuff from set back to my life.
And for all of you as actors, what was the most challenging things of your characters?
I think for me, it's I guess like challenge is opportunity, and I love opportunities, so I do really enjoy the challenge. But I think this is across the first and second. If I'm fortunate enough to not have dealt with any childhood trauma, but I think when you do have stuff from the past that does you know really affect your character, getting into that mindset and being able to accurately portray someone who has had you know had a tough past is definitely a challenge. And you kind of like at times I wouldn't say worried, but I felt the pressure to get it right, because it's something that you really can't afford to get wrong. So that was definitely a challenge and an opportunity that I felt.
Yeah, and just what you were saying about still learn, I'm still learning to do things under different circumstances. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people is themselves. Or I think sometimes that's a big challenge for me, just myself, for many different reasons.
Their answers were very deep and introspective.
Yeah,
my answer
they
is
were.
pretty simple. It's just I'm not really a suit guy, and wearing suits every day for every scene in Atlanta heat was pretty sweaty. I'm a very sweaty man. So that for me was the most difficult part. I'm used to wearing sandals.
And why do you guys think that After was and still is a worldwide phenomenon?
I don't know. I think
No, I was just gonna say, if I knew the answer to that question, I would have my own worldwide phenomenon written in up there. But no, I think it does remain a mystery to an extent. I think it's just a great story. I mean, it's a classic story retold in a really like unique, original, contemporary way. And I think it's the fact that everyone can resonate with it and at least you know be entertained by it. I think if you're yet to have your first love, you can imagine what it's like. If you've had it, you can reminisce. If you're in it, you can kind of take notes, and then also like you know take notes on stuff you don't want to do, because you don't want to copy everything Hardin and Tessa do. But I think it's just a really relatable but still dramatic enough to be entertaining story.
Yeah, it's for all those reasons, and then sometimes it's just an X factor where you don't, and then it just pops, and it's like wow, and yeah.
Okay, so I think we ran out of time. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.